good city.
Now, how did you actually make the transition into pro wrestling? Were you a wrestling fan growing up, or?
You know what? It's weird. I didn't watch it at all.
Wow.
I mean, and I mean that in a bad way or a denigrating way at all towards wrestling. I just didn't grow up in a family or an environment where we watched wrestling. My dad was went to college on a piano concert scholarship. My mom was like a Mensa, academic scholarship, and my family was totally anti-sport. I was like the black sheep that I would want to do any sports.
Right.
They thought they would never amount to anything. They're like, you want to do what? Play football? My dad wouldn't even sign my permission slip. I forged my football in high school. I forged my dad's probably I didn't say this, but I forged my dad's signature. Play football in high school. And he didn't know I was playing.
That's great.
And my dad never went to one of my games. He had no interest in sports, and that's not I had a bad dad. Just wasn't his thing.
Right.
And he thought it was a dead end street being involved in athletics and sports. He thought education, and music, and art, and that kind of thing was the way to go. So. I was definitely the. I have a brother and sister, but I was the only one who was involved in sports at all.
Wow.
So.
Now, what made you make the transition from football to wrestling? Who approached you, or is this something that you came up with?
I watched my last year in football. I played in the USFL, and it was in Memphis, which was a huge wrestling town.
Right.
That was my first exposure really to wrestling.
To the Jarrett's product.
Where people were like nuts about it.
Right.
Their whole Lawler thing, and I was like, wow, these people are really into this. And at the same time, they had that first huge at the Detroit Silverdome, the Hogan Andre the Giant match.
Right, WrestleMania 3.
I was like, man, they sold that place out. I was like, there must be something to this, And I always worked real hard in the weights, and it was kind of they always called me the cyborg and the genetic freak kind of thing. Everybody always teased me about that. So I was like, all I did was I walked into an office at Championship Wrestling in Florida and hooked up with a great guy who, which looking back on wrestling now is so unusual, Hiro Matsuda.
Right.
Mm-hmm. God rest his soul. And usually it's always, what's in it for me, if I'm going to help you. It's usually a family member's in or you got to contact something. I didn't know anybody. Right. I walked into the office and said, I don't know if I'd be any good at it all. I don't know anything about it. I might not be able to do it, but I played football for 7 years. My knees are still good, and I'm looking to make a career transition. And I was actually thinking of going to law school.
Wow.
At Stetson. I was living in Tampa at the time, right. and I was choosing between law school and going from football and the wrestling, and I chose wrestling, and it turned out to be a great decision, Well, but I never watched it growing up. I mean, I guess I'm making it a short story long, but I mean, I never watched it growing up. I really didn't, but not because I didn't like it. I just wasn't exposed to it.
Right.